Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel, Fertility, Hope, and Healing. My name is Dawn, and I am a licensed acupuncturist and fertility coach. I do videos for those who are simply trying to get pregnant, start a family, or those who are having difficulty getting pregnant. I have been in this business for over 15 years, helping couples achieve their dreams of having a baby. So today, guys, I am doing a video, as you know from the title, the number one thing that my patients do that could be the biggest mistake when it comes to their fertility. And it's something I have to talk them through. Pretty much every single person that comes to me, I have to talk them through all this. And a lot of this has come from just observation of experience with my own personal experience and my experience with those working, over 15 years with patients. This is the biggest mistake that they make, okay? So where I started to think about this was in my garden the other day, of all places. I've been gardening for over 20 years, and I usually don't call myself a really seasoned gardener, but this year in particular, it's 2020, and I've had a lot more time to spend in my garden. And usually by this time of this year, I am pulling out plants and, just ending the summer, because we're in Phoenix and it gets pretty hot, and giving up because they usually stop producing fruit. But this year I did something a little differently. I really spent a lot of TLC, time, love, and care on these plants. I fertilized them a lot more than I normally do. I composted a lot more directly into the ground, and the fruit flourished, and it flourished for longer. And what's interesting in Chinese medicine, which is my background, what I studied in the history of Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about fertility in relationship to gardening or farming, okay, which makes sense. There's been books that have been written about this too, that, for instance, the seed and the egg the seed would be the egg and the sperm, okay? And the ground would be like the uterus or your body. And then the ground gets nutrients that are put inside of your body, for instance, so they're really good examples. And then the seed sprouts, that's like the embryo, and then the plant grows, and that's the baby in utero. And then the fruit being produced would be you having a birth and bearing a baby. So they would talk a lot about this in Taoism. And Taoism in its authenticity is not a religion. It's really a deep understanding of God's creation and the world around us. And God does teach us through nature. It says that in Romans chapter 1 verse 20. So he reveals himself. So it's interesting, in Taoism they actually built a temple that I actually visited over in China called the Temple of Heaven, that worshiped this God in heaven, that provided their further needs and provided a bounty of fruits and vegetables. So they knew that there was a creator out there that created the entire world. Having said all that, what I realized that this time of year, my plants get stressed out. They get stressed out from the heat. They get stressed out because bugs started getting to attack them. They start attacking them because the plant is stressed out. And so at this point, it takes a little bit more effort and care to get more fruit out of it. And right now it's winding down. It's pretty much over and done with. I've taken out a few of my plants, and I have about 3 left, that mostly my cucumber plant, It's my first time growing cucumber in Arizona. But we've had a hearty, harvest, and I just was thinking, gosh, what am I doing differently? So what that came about was my thought on the fact that here it is, I'm taking the love, the care of this garden, and just really tender, loving care, and patience, having patience was what I was doing, and releasing a lot of my expectations. And what that did was produce a really great harvest. That's what I did differently this year. And isn't it that way, that we're this way with our bodies? We get impatient when we're going through a health issue or a health crisis or a fertility issue, which is a health issue. And when we get impatient and we have unrealistic expectations is when we hit a wall and we do not produce what it is that we want, the results that we want, okay? And that is the biggest mistake that my patients make, is that they're impatient, they have unrealistic expectations, and they end up really hurting themselves spiritually and emotionally because of it, and then physically too, because it blocks them from getting pregnant. When in fact, If you, many times too, the unrealistic expectations can actually cause fertility issues to begin with, because it really stresses them out and frustrates them. They don't prepare well for pregnancy to begin with, you know. But the other aspect is mostly I deal with a lot of people that are struggling getting pregnant, and the problem is that their unrealistic expectations have really fed into a dark hole of, you know, grief and loss over the time period. And every month they're just like, okay, this is the month. I hope this is it, the month. When all the while they're having an underlying health issue that could be easily fixed and resolved in some cases. But because they aren't focused on that, they're just focused on the process of getting pregnant and the doing, instead of just, you know, sitting back, letting go for a bit, addressing the root cause of the problem, the health issue. And a lot of times, guys, they don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on, and it's not your fault, okay? Because if you don't know, how you're supposed to treat it, right? So this is why fertility coaching for me is so important, is really about education. And you get a lot of great information on this channel. That's why I'm so passionate about helping you guys, because I'm telling you, I have my own experience. I'm going to be sharing it in the next video. Please subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss that video on my own personal fertility story, because I'm telling you guys, if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have had to go through all the stuff I went through in my 20s, you know, where I should have been able to easily be able to get pregnant. It was a big learning curve, all right? And again, it wasn't my fault, you know? So I'm very passionate about you guys not going through the things that I went through. But if you do have unrealistic expectations and you have a lot of impatience concerning this situation, and you're not taking the time and care to, you know, nurture and care for yourself and whatever it is, the problems that's going on spiritually, emotionally, physically, something's happening that's blocking you from being pregnant right now, you know? And then of course there's those that they go off the birth control pill and a few months later, boom, they're pregnant, you know? Or they just start to try and they get pregnant quickly, you know? Or, you know, there's those wonderful accidents that happen, not an accident, but, you know, blessings that happen unexpectedly. But when you're struggling, there's something going on. There could be a mindset you have. There could be a belief system. There could be a spiritual blockage. There could be a physical blockage, you know, that's happening that you don't know. There could be something you're doing that you don't know. So I have a couple videos that I wanted to offer you guys too that I have done. One is my best tips and tricks on being able to get pregnant when you're ready to do so. I have a whole series of preparing for pregnancy. I highly recommend you watch that first. And then I also have another video on things that people do that actually get in the way of them getting pregnant. And that's been a really popular video. That was more popular than the tips and tricks one, because a lot of people do want to know what they're doing wrong. The other thing I want to mention too, a lot of times, and by the way, I'll link all that below in the description. A lot of times people just don't get help. You know, they wait way too long when there's a problem, and they say, well, I can't afford to get help, or I know I can do this on my own if I just research and figure this out, you know. And that's very stressful. And the longer this goes on, guys, the worse it can get. Okay, so if you need help, guys, get help, whatever that looks like. Whether it is that you're on my channel looking at my videos, or whether it is that you reach out, we offer free consultations here. And guys, if you've never been diagnosed with any kind of fertility issue, and it's like, let's say, unexplained fertility, you get a diagnosis here. You get that's really valuable. You get a diagnosis, you get a plan, you get a program to go on. In the future too, we're going to be doing courses and classes on fertility, programs that you can purchase, but there's stuff out there right now too. You can get it for $10.99 on Udemy, all right? And I'm not going to link anything down there, but there's just so much free content out there about this stuff that you could take time to learn. But if you really, it's been a while, just get help, especially if you're dealing with a lot of grief and loss, a lot of confusion, so on and so forth, guys, because it's just worth it to have somebody hold your hand and guide you towards where you need to go. And I have really high rates of success here at our company, Life Harmony Wellness. So you can contact us online at lifeharmonywellness.com. Also too, we have a great support community. If you need support, You can go on our Facebook page, Fertility, Hope, and Healing. We'd love to have you a part of that community. You can ask questions, share your experiences, join other communities that are online. That's really helpful for a lot of women. There's another organization called Resolve, really great. They have support groups all across America. Highly recommend that. I've been working with them for years. But anyway, guys, yeah, like I mentioned before, I'm going to be telling my story on my own fertility journey. And be sure to stay tuned for that next video. And like this video if you like, subscribe to this channel like I mentioned before, turn on those notification bells so you won't miss that video. And I wish you guys lots of love and baby blessings. I'll see you next time.